Hana do set. Okay. Alright. Ready to get things started?
Yeah. I'm just kind of looking over things, trying to see what.
Alright. Let me set up the title card. Try to play audio for you. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom.
I don't want to spend too much time on the Amber thing because it's just kind of bleh.
Yeah. But before touching on. Okay. Hallyujuku in 3, 2, 1. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Hallyujuku, a podcast about East Asian pop culture, about a couple of dudes from the east of the United States. I'm Petey Rave. Here is a guy over here from Miami, Florida. Excited to be with you, chilling out, maximum relaxed, no cool. Here with me is my tag team partner, my partner in crime, my right hand man to my left hand side, Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Yeah, we're here.
Here to talk about the pops and the Ks.
Yes, and more. We're here to talk about music and stuff and culture and stuff like that. Of course, we start off every episode talking about what's new, what's got our attention since we last gathered. Kaz, what's going on? What's new?
So I got this first song from One the K, and it's by One Team. It's called Make This. I'm not super familiar with One Team, but it was kind of there, and now I want to know more.
Yeah.
So it was kind of worth checking out, and I always like checking out things on One to K. It's a pretty good channel for checking out K-pop stuff if you have not seen it before. But I thought it was a pretty good song by this group.
Yeah, one team you've featured a couple of times, at least according to the doc, which is cool. But yeah, they've been interesting.
I think it's more of one. Yeah, it's one of those groups that come up, and I'm like, oh, interesting, but I never follow up on them. Yeah. So I'm not super familiar with them.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like they catch your attention, and they have good solid stuff and they have good material, and I think it's there's just so much stuff to keep track of that sometimes even the captivating the interesting groups might lose track of. But yeah, this is a solid track, and it has an interesting vibe to it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a listen. I think it's definitely worth checking out. And I will say again, but the next time I bring on a One Team song, it ain't bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
At some point, they'll actually catch my attention, and I'll start to learn things about them and have more info worth talking about, like our next track. You remember probably a couple months ago, League of Legends, for kind of some of their big season change and to reintroduce some stuff, did this whole kind of K-pop theme thing with some of their characters, and then ended up releasing a music video, which
Last year.
yeah, last year, which featured some people. So this year, coming off of Worlds, we are now in that time period again, where there's a bunch of changes to League of Legends, and they decided to do it again, taking a bunch of their characters, and kind of retooling them a little bit, with also using this as a way to introduce a new character coming into the game called Senna, by making another group called True Damage. So the first one was KDA, and this one is True Damage, with Becky G, Kiki Palmer, Soyeon, Duckworth, and Thutmose, I want to call him.
Thutmose, yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of hums and haws about how people feel about this track, and I just say, like, it's different. It's definitely totally different than what KDA was. I still like it. I like it a lot, but I think people were kind of expecting another KDA, and I'm just like, nah. They kind of, I think they're very good at kind of going on like what motivates them in a weird way, or what kind of is popular, because this, if anything, reminds me a lot of and probably because it's Duckworth, kind of the sound of some of the stuff from Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And Duckworth did a song for Spider-Verse,
yeah,
so it's probably why they went with Duckworth, because his song was super popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah, there was a couple of expectations. I think maybe some people were expecting another KDA. I think anybody that was paying attention and realized that it was going to be mainly a hip hop thing, a hip hop collaboration, kind of retuned their expectations based on that. That being said, what their expectations became was that Soyeon was going to get more bars in this sentence than she did. She like it was going to be like this hip hop track where Soyeon was going to be able to go off, and she kind of did. She did go off. It's just like for about 10 seconds worth of a song, which is probably, it's to be expected. They're not going to spend too much of a song. They're not going to like over inundate what is ostensibly a hip hop oriented but supposed to be radio friendly track, with just bars on top of bars on top of bars, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that need to be showcased. So not everyone's gonna have a lot of time, but I mean, definitely you could definitely feel that
it does
you feel like you could have gotten a little bit more of Soyeon in there, but you understand how it was constructed.
Yeah, I think it's probably because for them, like you said, it was primarily that, and I think that other song was very K-pop, and they wanted to do something more hip-hop. You know what I mean? So, like, the next thing we'll probably get, even though, actually, there is one that originates all of this, which is Pentakill, which was like kind of the rock group thing, but these ones have kind of been bigger than life than that was. I think that was when League was still smaller, so kind of knowing their revolving thing, they'll probably maybe do Pentakill again or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they'll probably revolve around themselves. But yeah, it's I think it works. I think you just got to give it its fair shake and understand what it is and listen to it for what it is. I like it. And those are all skins that I'm not going to buy because I refuse to give them more money. So
Yeah.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Could have used
There
more
you
soy on bars.
go. Last but not least, a group we haven't talked about in a little bit, Card,
Yeah.
um, with their song "Dumb Liddy."
Yes.
I figured Petey would be excited for this. This is a really, really just good track by them. Um, if you have not listened to Card yet, you are doing yourself a disservice. I think you should just pause this podcast, go check out Card. Dumb Liddy's not a terrible track to start with, or any of their tracks at this point are not a terrible track to just start with because they have a pretty good music library so far. And I just think they're a very interesting group.
Yeah.
Especially because of their makeup. It might not be something you're used to, seeing the two guys, two girls kind of thing, and they play with it very well. And I think they do very well to kind of showcase it and how it is and the different vocals and things like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dumb Liddy.
Dumb Liddy. If you have been following Card, you'll the biggest non-surprise is when you saw the title and it was originally followed up with a parentheses called "produced by BM." It was like song's called "Dumb Liddy." Of course, it's produced by BM. We knew that. Like we got it from the title of the track. You can tell like Matthew Kim's hands are all over it. It's a hype track. I think as a composition, it's not their best offering, but as a like a hype track in the middle of their set list to just like get you pumped, it works really well. They perform it really well. They have the attitude for it. I think that's one of the best things about them is that as a performing group, they have the like power and attitude, which I think is great, especially Jiu. And they look great in the video, and they just have the right visuals, and it's fantastic. I was probably gonna end up being featured by me if other things hadn't come up, and then like into the scheduling and whatnot because I was aware of the track when it came out, but yeah it is hype. It is hype. I think hype over construct, if anything, but definitely hype. Yeah, solid stuff. All right. Let's get into some of the stuff that I talk about. What's new with me? I have a couple of things. I have one non-music thing, so I'll talk about something that's really cool that caught my attention. Well, I mean, I'm not. Hey, have you heard of a channel called First We Feast? I don't know.
No,
It's
never
kind
heard
of
of
an
it.
obscure little channel by this guy who does this other one called Hot Ones, maybe. You know,
Well,
uh, you know,
well, First We Feast is the like company
yeah. First,
um
yeah,
that
and then like Hot Ones is the song,
no,
the video,
other
like that. Everyone knows.
they have
The
that. They have the burger show. There's something else that is super popular, but Hot Ones is their most popular show on that channel.
because they have and it's like just their guest lists. You can tell that it's a thing, but they get millions of views on that. So I'm not opening anybody's eyes. They probably know about this show already. But I still want to talk about how it's a cool show. Reina Scully, formerly of SourceFed and a couple other places, has joined up with First We Feast for a new show, a new series called Gochi Gang. And it's going to be Reina kind of doing Japanese cuisine, like, and kind of going into what it's about. And not just like,
Hmm.
not just an eating show, but like, hey, this is a piece of Japanese cuisine that, hey, it's not sushi or well, imagine at some point she'll go to like some bomb ass sushi, but it's not just the one or two things that everyone knows. It's let's explore the breadth of Japanese cuisine and let's explore these really cool like really cool things that Japanese cuisine has to offer, especially in certain areas and certain restaurants. And that's going to be the thing for her. I believe she's going to be doing some of it in Japan, but there's only been a couple episodes out. The first one, she visits
I
Japan
mean,
Village
so
in.
so it, they're definitely pushing to get like it popular in the food culture like
Yeah,
realm, because like that one of the first three of these videos that are up here has Mikey Chan and fucking Claire from
Bon
not
Appetit.
Tasty, fucking Bon Appetit, yeah, on there.
that
Uh,
you said Bloods before you said Crips. Yo, yeah,
man,
Snoop Dogg.
I
It's
don't
like you.
I don't care, bro.
I know. It's like you went Snoop Dogg. Oh, Snoop Dogg used to be part of the Bloods. Oh, Crips. He was a Crip.
Yeah. Um, and then of course you got an episode with Sean Evans and Philip DeFrank. I don't even know why Philip DeFrank. Are you trying to get her on the news fucking conspiracy theory list?
I think it was just the hey, let me bring my old boss back in here because I know I can sit across the room from him and do talk
Uh,
good.
I guess it gets clout because people will be like, "Oh shit, Philip DeFranco? Oh fuck yeah, dog."
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to have all those like food people in there to get it into the food streams of people who watch those food videos. So I'll let you know how well this show does if my girlfriend brings it up because she
Yeah.
watches all the food YouTube channels. So
Yeah.
if this catches, that's how you know, man. You
Yeah.
got to have those friends you know are into a really specific thing, and you're like, all right, if they talk about it, then this thing is on the map.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. Like I think the fact that that Reina kind of explores the research behind it a little bit, or like specifically like on this one, like she meets the person that runs Japan Village. The Claire one is just finding snacks, but for the Wagyu episode, she goes and she meets a butcher in New York and goes into the history, goes into what designates Wagyu in especially regionally speaking, and the distinction of pointing out that all Kobe is Wagyu, but not all Wagyu is Kobe. Things like that. And it's really cool, and I think it's worth checking out. And people are gonna hopefully it's on a popular channel, and like you said, they're getting all the right guests, and Reina is a fantastic host, and I think she can carry the show really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. And apparently, Asuka is on a future episode of the ending little videos to be believed. So I'm looking forward to that, the wrestling YouTuber crossover. Um, but moving on, I have a couple of songs. Speaking of Japan, I'm staying in Japan. The new track by FAKY, and it
Mhm.
is a really cool track. So FAKY has another track, I think it's a digital
And in
single.
Japan, but they bring in the Latin heat.
The tropical flavor, as it were, and it is a fun track. It's called Antidote, and it's catchy, it's fun, it's cool, it has the attitude. It's definitely like uh they are that group that brings like the very uh westernized style of like hot girl group, uh like attitude laden music, and I think it works really well. uh and it's a fun track, and they perform it pretty well. It's infectious, and it's another solid offering in the Fakey lineup. They bring the twerking. They're bringing the semi twerking as well in the video, and they definitely have a look, for sure. They have the looks. What did you think of this track?
No, I still liked it. Like, but it does. It's like very island, very like kind of uh like kind of has like a Latin feel to it a little bit. Like, uh, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. And then there's just random drifting in it for some reason. I'm always down for random drift.
Yep, random drifting. So it's like, just you gotta just fish from whatever B-roll you manage to film on music video day. It's like,
Yeah,
let's bring the cars. I don't know, do wheelie, do donuts. There, we'll just film
yeah.
you doing donuts. That'll fill in the episode. That'll fill in the music video. Um, yeah. Overall, just a solid track. So more stuff from FAKY. I'm always looking forward to more stuff from FAKY. They're pretty fantastic. Um, Also, I love that Anna, formerly of FAKY, is going to be in the new Fast and Furious movie, apparently, which is going to be crazy. Anna Sawai.
Maybe,
Uh,
but that's why there's random drifting in here.
yeah, it's
It's
so
a
crossing.
fucking. It's a little odd. It's a little like, hey, we got you.
Yeah, we still remember you. That FAKY bond. But yeah, awesome stuff from FAKY. All right, but now the track that I really care about. New MAMAMOO. You know your
Mhm.
boy was gonna talk about new MAMAMOO. You know your boy was chomping at the bit to talk about the new MAMAMOO. That newness. And they have a new song called Hip, and I love it. I was just gonna say it. I love it. It is super catchy. It's super well done. It's well written. It's fun to listen to. It is like it has that like really great personality and attitude that I think makes Mamamoo uh the group that I know them as. Like it is why I love them. Um, the video is cool. The kind of like the
Yeah,
fun
I
like
definitely
different
think the video is like
universes.
yeah, I think it has like a very fun visual like thing to it that's definitely worth checking out. So, if you're just listening to this, definitely go check out the video for this. It's super fun, and then something like that is can catch you for a song too. Like if you have a really good visual thing with your video going on, which I think this does, it can catch you in a really good way, and I think this does that.
Yeah, and like the song is fun to listen to. The song is cool. Like the it is like I love that it's a it it is like uh was it the no matter the yes I am, where it's like the confidence anthem, but this time it's like this one is pointedly like fuck all the haters, I'm gonna be who I am kind of a track, which is really fun. It also like makes pointed references to uh like like Hwasa's outfit controversies. By controversies, I mean that time where people got mad that she showed up to the airport in a sports bra, and then like yeah, people got mad, and then like I don't know either. It's just people get mad for dumb reasons. And then she claps back on them in a really great way with this, and I like the attitude, and I like the message of the song, and it's really cool. Like I'm the album is really solid too. It has some other really great tracks, including the song that they had for Queendom, which was another really fantastic track. And I this is just more great Mamamoo. I love Mamamoo, and I love that what they have to offer style wise and song wise, and this is more of that in just a solid package. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on
No,
that?
I just think it's a dope track worth checking out.
Yeah,
And
it's
everybody should
just
be checking it out.
yeah. So go check out Mamamoo. For all that I've constantly talked about them, and as you can see, I have to order the new album, but it'll be there. I'm gonna have to somehow fit it in there, but it'll be in there. Uh, but look forward to that. But yeah, that's it for what's new. Now we head over to the headline segment. So catch us on the flip
Oh,
side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and those beyond the binary. We are here in the headline segment. Talk about topical topics, things going on in the world of East Asian pop culture. Just happenings. All right, let's get down to it. In yikes, that's a bad take news. Uh, Amber faces backlash after saying man detained by police for eating quote deserved it on JK News. Releases apology. So Amber was on JK News, Just Kidding News, which is a YouTube channel where a group of people talk like your friends at work talk. that conversation you have with people you sort of know and like at work, where you just kind of talk shit, but none of you really know what you're talking about. That's what that is a YouTube channel. But it is, JK News. They had a discussion on the man who was arrested while eating a breakfast sandwich on waiting for the train. I forget where it was, because it was like one of those that it's on Now This, and like you only see it. Oh yeah, it was in the Bay Area at a BART station, and
mm-hmm.
let's just say it. I imagine people have seen it or out there. She says that, oh, he deserved it because he should have had respect for the police officer because he's a police officer. And people are like, Amber, you sound like an arc. That's not cool. And then like the backlash happened, and she has apologized, said she's sorry, and she saw the clip, and she did a snap judgment. She screwed up, and she's been apologizing multiple times personally to people. But it was unfortunate, and kind of like there was I think one of the, well, okay, we'll get to one of the like the funnier comments, but it's kind of an unfortunate moment. Like what was your reaction to seeing this happen?
Nothing really. It was like I don't have expectations of people to be aware of every social transgression that exists in the universe, no matter how big they are, right? Um, I expect humans to be humans. Some people just ain't got time for that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and, and I think very well stated in, I think one of the things she put out was like, I've, I spend a fair amount of time not in America anymore, and my expectation over reality, is different, and I
Yeah.
realize the reality of the things around me are different than my expectation of the things around me. Like not she didn't say that verbatim, but it's kind of in that sense of being like, I am just unaware of the shit that is going on around me because of how much time I spent somewhere else,
I
and I'm fine with that
I
as
get
a
that. I
thing.
get that, but I don't know if that holds water. I will accept that she screwed up and she made a snap judgment. I I think the big thing is that, like I said, she came off looking like a narc. uh, like, and 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 yeah, she says that she spent the last 10 years overseas, but the thing is, she hasn't. She spent the last 2 years or more in LA. Uh, so she's been here
Well, yeah,
uh,
but
and
she spent those time around people trying to do a thing. You know what I mean? Like there are people that I talk to that like I talk to them about things that I think everyone knows about, and they don't, because they spend an exorbitant amount of their time working on the shit that they're doing. You know what I mean? Like trying to start a business, trying to buy a house, and she's trying to push a career in music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stay as socially aware on her own bullshit that yeah, there are things you should be aware of, but I don't ever expect people to be aware of them, right? That's the reason I like when we bring up certain things, I get mad at people who, for lack of better whatever, and there's some of that in here, who clout chase, who go who look at something as their moment to be like, how could you not know about the systemic injustices of whatever? And it's just like, that's not how you educate people. like
Yeah.
like you educate people by understanding sometimes people ain't got time to fucking understand shit, dog. That's just life. That's just
Yeah.
fucking life. like
Yeah. I think the fair assessment is that if you look at the video, it and this is I think probably part of like what the style of video Just Kidding News is. Um, if she wasn't aware, she should have. She shouldn't have spoken authoritatively, like so, like that. Authoritatively, like and sure of herself, or spoken on this subject as if she was aware. Um,
yeah. And I mean, and also, I give no fucking reference to it because it's on something called Just Kidding News, which I'm sure no one there took a moment to be like, hey, this is what's actually happening in this video. They probably just played it, took the reaction, and I'm sure everyone in that room knew what the fuck was wrong with what she said. But do you think any of them gave a fuck? No, they just were like, cool, that's gonna get us more views.
yeah. So it's like
So like,
so the real
whatever,
answer is
bro.
like Amber needs to be more selective with her friends and who she who the yeah. I think
Like
they're
like
definitely
like there are people like literally the other day that like kind of that thing that I just said, where I was looking at something and I was like, well, fuck, like something I said, like, you know, along the lines like something shit's even worse in Hong Kong now. Um
yeah.
and they were like, what? Like, what's wrong with Hong Kong? And I'm just like, oh, there are people who are unaware of this situation.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, like, my instant reaction isn't going to be like, what the fuck is your fucking fuck? Like, it's just, oh,
But
well,
at
let me
least
explain to you.
yeah. But the key thing is she should have asked instead of spoken like spoken out an
I mean, but
opinion.
what is there for her to ask? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it, like, if you look at a situation and you see all things as equal, right? Which I'm giving benefit of the doubt that that's what she did. If you look at a situation, you see all things as equal. It goes like, that's why I say I can kind of understand her transgression, or you know, even if she doesn't know, she just doesn't know. You know, like I
Yeah.
just it's so
Yeah.
hard for me to like demonize somebody for not knowing something.
Mm.
You just don't know.
Yeah, I think the key is not demonizing. I think that and not being competitive. Uh, but there's
Yeah,
definitely cause to
which
say,
uh,
hey, like that was
I
like,
think there's like a
hey, like that wasn't exactly, I please, like that wasn't exactly like, hey, I get that was your initial reaction, but this is the real situation. You know, this was you know,
Like, I didn't watch it, and I don't ever plan on watching it. And whatever that like video that they linked in the just kidding the Asian Junkie article of
yeah,
the like, I saw that tweet that's just like, like the one that's like, hi Amber, shut the fuck up, and you know, like that is that type of shit that I'm talking about, right? Like,
yeah,
you're a clout chaser and trying to make it seem like you're so aware of the world. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you.
yeah. I think there she may not have been aware, but there have been plenty of opportunities for her to be aware. Uh, and I think like it is still it is not fair to angrily demonize her, but it is fair to say, hey, be a little bit more aware, be a little bit more educated, because this is a pertinent issue. Uh, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I still, like I said, I just,
or
if I'm
don't
going to give
speak
people
on it.
benefit of the doubt,
If you're not aware, don't speak on it.
no, I speak on it or not, just it, I don't know, just own your mistakes is one thing that I always say, and like, I don't ever want or need anybody to be aware of everything, right? Like, and don't clout chase, which is what that Twitter video is doing. Don't do that. Don't demonize people for not knowing things ever. Fuck you. Um, and like, if you're in a bubble, live your fucking bubble and just own that. Like I don't know. I just hate anyone. I like my main issue right now is this video that's just like, fuck you for not knowing a thing. Fuck you for fucking telling somebody what they should know.
I think I think we can all stand to be a little bit more aware and cognizant, and that could always be more helpful. But yeah, the demonizing isn't helpful. That's for sure. But yeah, moving on to other people. Moving on to as you know, our week, our traditional, our ongoing uh, entertainment agencies, our trash coverage. Uh,
I mean, we should call this things you already know, part whatever. So this is things you already know, part 10 for fucking TSE Entertainment.
yeah,
Um, they're so they're being sued, rightfully so, because they are and were one of the big kind of proponents of slave contracts, and it's just kind of been more and more and more coming out that they don't treat anybody well. They don't treat their employees well. They don't treat their acts well. They don't treat anyone well. They essentially use people and just literally they treat people like shit.
yeah,
Um, and more and more and more and more and more is coming out about that, and these articles go into really good detail. Um, and I know PD is generally a big fan of Asian Junkie. I'm not always, but I think these articles are very well done in the details that they were able to collect from
yeah,
other things, about the like habitual abuse that these people have been suffering under
yeah,
the guise of that they should be able to trust, and who are supposed to be helping them further their careers, but are only, I mean, for lack of a better term, just using them to better line their pockets. Like,
yeah.
um, I know we just went through a whole thing, and I yelled about like not demonizing things, but
Yeah. Well, so it's like not demonizing somebody for making an honest mistake and not being as super aware.
yeah,
It's different from
but
demonizing
I
for
think
people for causing physical and emotional harm on a systemic level to the people that are entrusted to them. Like,
yes,
it's a
yes.
different moral argument, you know. Like,
No,
it's a different.
that's what I was trying to get to. I was gonna say like I was gonna be like, look, this is different though.
Yeah.
Like,
No, this
they,
is people
there's
causing harm to others, especially people that were.
yeah,
It was bad in any way, but especially people that were, that trusted them, um, and like, and people that trusted them to guide their careers, people that that needed somebody, that are it, I think there's so many things, and when we're talking about Uyup and Taesun of now formerly of Tracing, and they're suing, kind of going into details of abuse and mistreatment, um, and like I think one of the things, I think one of the, and it's funny because I think definitely in some arguments and just all over the place in different fields, there's always like that one premise that is a little over accepted, that is thrown out and a little over accepted, even by all sides, just in each like different like field of like when you're having a moral argument, and I think on this one, on like K-pop groups and the mistreatment of these idols and things like that, I think one argument that might be a little bit overly accepted and not challenged enough is they know what they're getting into. I don't think that I don't necessarily believe as an accepted, always true fact that any of these kids know with full knowledge what they're getting into when they get into these contracts or when they get into these companies and when they want to get into K-pop. I think you'd like to know what you're getting into. I think that you know what people say, you know what you hear from secondhand, but you don't know until you experience it. Like you always think, like, yeah, I guess, but I could deal with that. I could deal with that. I don't know that necessarily everyone knows, and I think that's something that's always accepted. Like, is like they know what they're going to do. Like, maybe they don't. Like they get into these situations and they're being exploited, and maybe they don't know what they're getting into, and that's bad. Like,
I also think there's also a cultural thing around it too, right? Where it's like even for a long time in the gaming industry, in the competitive gaming industry and esports and stuff, like there were really bad conditions for teams for a really long time that were very similar to a lot of the stuff that happened in K-pop. But as that realm became more popular, and that realm started to show itself more to America and other countries, not just to America. I don't want to make America the moral high ground. Um, like to other places in the world, they had to change and reform a lot because you had now other people from other places in the world who have an understanding of how you should be treated when you work for somebody, the back and forth respect, and like the players started to see this stuff and they're like, oh wait, hold on, like I don't have to be treated this way, like
yeah,
I don't have to accept those kind of things, right?
yeah,
Because yes, even in situations where they do know the abuses of those situations, it's like, well, this is the thing I'm good at and this is the thing I want to do, like I guess that's my only path. And I think we're getting to this point in K-pop where now people are becoming more aware of those situations, right? We're having more and more and more of these American crossovers go into K-pop who then come out and they're like, this is not a system that should exist. J Park, Amber, other people like that. And then just in general, we're having more of these kids when they turn a certain age and have a better understanding of things, because you have to also remember a lot of these people go into these agencies when they're somewhere between 10 and 15 to start even just training to
yeah,
possibly debut in a group, right? So one, you're working this whole time, and you're around all these other people, and you're trying to learn all these things, and then there's all this other shit that's going on,
And
and
everyone's
and you
older than
start
you.
to form a form of normality, and you think, okay, like no one else is saying anything, maybe I shouldn't either. Like it, it there's not always just this, like, this brighter light of, like, oh, you could do it another way. Like, I had to explain this the other day to some of our friends, where I was talking about kind of some of the abusive shit that happens in K-pop, and they were like, oh, you know what I mean, like, you just fucking go out at it on your own, you know what I mean, you go out there and you do that. And I was like, yeah, that's becoming a thing now, but what you have to understand, for the longest time, and still even to this day, a lot of these agencies are owned by the record labels, who also own a TV station, who also own the radio, who also own, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like there are other avenues if you want to be a singer, dancer, kind of, you know what I mean, or something of that ilk, or even an actor. Like even to be an actor, sometimes you have to, like, we know so many people who had to go through the idol industry to get into acting,
Yeah.
because the same company that owns the idol groups own the production studios, and the
Yeah.
production studios are also the contractors of the act, you know what I mean, like the
Yeah.
system is fucking different. Like,
Yeah.
so you have to understand the system before you say, oh, you know what
Yeah.
you're getting into.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like I always marvel at the fact, and I think if people realize how that one thing, and I think that so many things about K-pop is basically a mirror to the Western music industry. I think, honestly, I think it's not as different, really,
Mm-hmm.
as far as motivation,
Yeah.
as far as, like, like what they're doing. Like, they take young talents, they chew them up, and then they spit them out. Um, and with only minor
I
cultural, and I think the only
I
difference is, like, the culture, how the culture affects the strategy, the means,
mm-hmm.
but ultimately the ends are the
Yeah.
same. And but I think one of the main things is the that is different, and I think is the most fascinating thing, and I don't think people talk about it enough. And I think people just accept it. You either don't know, or you're in the fandom and you just accept it. The agency is the same company as the label. That's weird. That's two sides of the table. Your agent is also
Yeah.
your label. That's like, can you
Yeah.
imagine if, like, John Carlos Stanton agent was, I don't know if he's still there, Brian Cashman? Is he still running the Yankees?
Or
Okay.
just the reference that, like, you know what I
if
mean,
if
like
his
you're an
agent was the
actor and you
Yankees.
want to, right, and like you're an American actor, right? You have your headshots, and you go to MGM or NBC, and you're like, all right, I want to be an actor, and they're like, cool, we'll think about it, but you have to have representation. Let's call Bill. Hey, Bill,
Like,
come represent this kid. Like, all right. Like,
so,
you're like, all right, hey, Bill, go in
yes,
there
they
and get me
represent
more
you.
money. Like, like, fuck no. And like,
We've talked to
also
ourselves and we've agreed on these terms.
the whole the whole staff that is supposed to take care of you are employees that work at the thing with you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's fucking. Hey, you're not a janitor anymore. Now you're this kid's manager. That's your level up. All right,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It
fucking.
is wild, and I think, but yeah, and and back on this topic, it's wild to kind of, like, see that, more and more of this is coming out. I mean, it's funny because, like, TS Entertainment, if you look at their Wikipedia, the biggest
Mhm.
listing on their Wikipedia, the biggest, like, part of their Wikipedia is all their legal issues. The fact that literally all of their artists have sued them, like
Mhm.
BAP lawsuit, Jiun and Hyosung of Secrets lawsuits, Sleepy's lawsuit, Sumin and Nahyun of Sonamu's lawsuit, and now this. And, like, at this point, like, what is going on here? Also, like it's like clockwork. It didn't take long for them to get petty too, because now TS Entertainment took the moment, decided let's go ahead and take that low road, in a sense, and now their comeback is that the big real issue is that Woo Yup was dating a stylist. It's like, okay, just gonna throw Mans under the bus like that, like it's like throw his like personal stuff. If it's not true, then they're just throwing out some bullshit to deflect. If it is true that he was dating a staff member, okay, like maybe like you want to make a value judgment on inner workplace relationships and like power dynamics and things like that, but okay, like what does this have to do with everything you've been talking, everything that he's been talking about against you guys, and all those that have basically corroborated
Yeah.
with everybody else's claims about the company? Like it's all trash. They're all trash.
All right,
Let's move on
let's
to
go
another
through our
trash.
other stories. We've been too angry today.
Let's get through it. I will say the other. Speaking of companies trash, I want to talk about the just because this is another level of like what the fuck. Yejin, formerly of
Yeah.
Brave Girls, talking about why she decided to leave the group, and like there's some details about like some of the behaviors and abuses and things like that. But one of the big reasons is the manager's driving, and her taking videos of the manager playing a game while they were driving on their phone. And I'm like, there's this picture, and I imagine it's part of the video that she put out on her YouTube, but of the manager with his left foot up on the dash, which I find infuriating and fascinating from a athletic level. Like, bro, I couldn't even do that if I tried. And put your foot on the gas, like, I could get like just live like that. Like, come on, like how I tear a groin even trying to that. I'm almost torn a groin just looking at that picture. Like, like
Yeah.
what how can you make sense? What's going on? What happened, Cass? What happened?
Yeah. Like like I will give it to that title. That is a like fearing for your life because this man does not fear for his. Like
That man has a death wish, and I'm like, I am not part of this agreement. I did not collect these Dragon
yeah,
Balls. I did not wish for this. I did not rub
yeah.
that lamp for this death wish. Of course, like the big thing is that she went to the agency and they said, "Ah, fuck off." It's like, okay, like there's none of
Mhm.
your business. It's like, bitch, it's my life. My life is my business. Which is aggravating. I think
And I'm telling you, that's what
yeah,
happens. You fucking you give that sideways level up to the guy who's there to clean windows, and you're like, hey, you're the manager of that group now.
you drive them.
Your job is to drive them from point A to point B, like and make sure nobody talks to them. All right, I got it, boss.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is it this dude? Like,
yeah,
that
yeah.
man's all right.
All right.
Okay.
All right. That being said, last but not
But
least.
I'm proud of her. I'm glad that she took the seriousness of that situation and was like, nah, fuck this. I
I'm
I I got better things to do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I and that kind of thing comes from everyone else before her making those same decisions and showing her that it's okay. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like to be able to do that.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, remember that camaraderie. Yeah, all the best to Yejin, and God, fucking brave sound. on some bullshit. Brave sound, drop it. All right, moving on to the last bit of this headline, which is just a kind of a comical one. It's just interesting. So, Produce 101 Japan distances itself from Produce 101, assures you they are not corrupt. In a rather amusing twist, Produce 101 Japan has had to publicly disavow connection to Produce 101, at least on the level of saying that they have nothing to do with CJE&M and they aren't going to defraud people. It's a reality TV show, of course. They're going to play some games. Recently, the operation department for quote Produce 101 Japan issued a statement via the show's website. In a statement, they clarified, quote, "We inform you that Produce 101 Japan is the Japanese version that is independent from the Korean Produce 101 and is produced with its own operation system, and it involves absolutely no corruption." End quote. Some statement went on to say, quote, "All of the vote aggregation for Produce 101 Japan is being carried out impartially under the presence of staff members from several companies involved in production. Also, the CJE&M staff and other people who were involved in the vote manipulation who have been mentioned in several reports are not working on the production of Produce 101 Japan." End quote. The statement then clarified that a team of staff members from several companies is carrying out the vote aggregation themselves, and it is said that an outside lawyer that is completely separate from the production is taking part, ensuring impartiality. Well, that's reassuring. Glad this company gives. I love that Asian Junkie points out that glad this company gives us no reason at all to be skeptical about their moral standing, and then points out that the company behind it has well-known Yakuza ties. So, yeah, sure. No, all in the up and up. But this is this is kind of a fun statement and kind of a hilarious statement, and it is interesting that they have to like do this based off all this blowing up, and it's funny that all of this came about because they didn't randomize the numbers enough.
My thing is, and why not just change the name?
I don't know. I think they already registered. They already started production. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. Because I'm like, at that point, right? Just be like, yo, fuck it, bro. Like, just change the name. Fucking change the production label. Nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like, like nobody knows. We in here, we out of here. Like,
I don't know.
Like, why are you so locked in on that name? Like that name has such bad juju on it. You know what I mean? Like, that name got such bad juju on it that I would be like, let's get the far as fuck away from that name as we can. Like, because I'm sure if somebody else did a show very similar in Asia or Japan and just said that they were a different production company and shit like that, even if you saw all the same faces of contestants, people would not 100% think twice about it. I'm sure there'd be somebody that'd be like, there's something fishy, but like I don't know. I feel like they could get away with it, even though I don't think they should. And I'm not saying that that's a thing that they should do, because fuck them, because they're probably just as corrupt as the last one. But if I was to play devil's advocate, just change your name.
Yeah,
just change your name.
And I'm back to like, you should have just let everyone in on it. If you wanted to do pro wrestling, just let everyone in on it. Let everyone be involved.
Yeah,
you didn't have to hoodwink all of the people. You could just, the marks can just be the audience. Let the audience be the marks. That's what I'm saying. But yeah.
This is why we don't run these industries, because we'd let the people speak.
Yes. Yes. This is why I don't run the industry, because I'd really just do. I would do pro wrestling. Like I would. I'd call the meetings. I'd let everyone in. Just like I said last time. Just face to face. Just let the kayfabe live on the show. And let the fans have fun. It's fun for everyone.
Yeah.
Nobody gets screwed over. But yeah, that's it. That is all. That brings us to the end of another episode of Hallyujuku. Kaz, what's going on?
Hey.
What's going on in your world? What's happening?
If you enjoyed me getting heated and yelling about things, go check out Sports Odds and Ends, where I yell about sports because all the teams that I like are bad and everybody is doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
So the NFL are trying to kill all their players. All their players are trying to kill themselves. The players who are good constantly are apparently getting tested for drugs that they're not taking, and yeah, fucking
And gummies.
yeah, good shit.
And
Don't. I swear to God, dude. I swear to fucking God, bro. Oh,
I hear edibles. I hear edibles hit you different. I think it's just you can't judge.
Of all the things, no. All right, you know what? Here's what we end on. Know your limits, people.
Yes.
And if your limit is 1, then don't take any.
Don't take any. At least not on the company.
It's
not on company time.
Right. Don't do that shit at your job.
Even if they're benching you, just don't do it. Also, I love that. Before we finish up, I love that the Heat subreddit on the whole gummy thing was that we don't judge him. Whatever you do is on your own time is cool, but this is gonna allow us to cut him for free. I'm down for it. Like that was the Heat subreddit narrative. It's like, yo, I'm not.
Well, didn't I tell you? Don't you know?
I'm not against gummies or drugs, but if this lets us cut them for free, I'm all for it. That being said, you can find us all over the internet. He's at King Kaz. I'm at PD Rave. The show's at Hallyujuku.com, kpoppodcast.com, rebelli.net for this and other shows, Rebelli TV on YouTube, and elsewhere. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, do all the things.
Give it to me straight, Doctor.
Until next time, hasta luego.
Why, I think you're crazy.
Fighting.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
No, yeah, that was definitely the narrative on the Miami Heat subreddit. It was like, yo, we finally get rid of Deion Waiters.
Yeah.